Park Do-yun stood at the window of his small room and looked at the stars. He had dreamed of space since he was a child. Now he was here, floating somewhere between Earth and a planet called Valora Prime. He was part of the first team to meet the Valorians. It was the biggest moment in human history, and he was scared. He was not a soldier or a scientist. He was a cultural attaché. His job was to help humans and Valorians understand each other. He had studied their language, their food, their art, and their history. But there was so much he did not know. The Valorians were mysterious. They were beautiful and elegant, with skin that changed colors like oil on water. Their eyes were large and bright. They moved like dancers, even when they were just walking. His supervisor was Kim Yuna. She was a senior diplomat, calm and smart. She had been working on this mission for 5 years. She trusted Do-hyun because he was good at reading people. He could feel what others felt. That was why she chose him. "Remember," Yuna had told him before they boarded the ship, "they are not like us. Do not expect them to think the way we think. Watch and learn first. Speak second." Do-hyun nodded and promised to be careful, but nothing could prepare him for what happened on his first night. The ship was called Horizon's Edge. It was a joint vessel, shared by humans and Valorians. The human side had normal rooms with beds, tables, and showers. The Valorian side was different. It was full of open spaces, soft lights, and water. Valorians loved water. It was part of their culture, their religion, and their daily life. After the first meeting with the Valorian delegation, Do-hyun was tired. His head hurt from trying to remember all the names and titles. The Valorians had greeted them with long poems and songs. Every word had meaning. Every gesture was a symbol. He had smiled and nodded for 3 hours straight. Back in his room, he took off his uniform and stepped into the shower. The hot water hit his skin and he let out a long breath. Finally, he could relax. He closed his eyes and let his mind go empty. Then the door opened. Do-hyun turned around fast. Standing in the doorway was Lyrae, one of the Valorian delegates. She was tall and thin, with silver skin and deep blue eyes. She wore her formal robes and looked completely calm. "Good evening," she said. "I hope the water is warm." Do-hyun screamed. He slipped on the wet floor and grabbed the wall to stop himself from falling. Water sprayed everywhere. He tried to cover himself with his hands, but there was nothing to hold. He was completely exposed. "What are you doing?" he shouted. His voice was high and broken. "Get out! Please!" Lyrae tilted her head. She did not move. She did not look away. She just watched him with a small frown on her face. "I do not understand," she said. "Have I done something wrong?" "Yes, you walked into my shower. But that is why I came." Do-hyun stared at her. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might explode. He reached out and grabbed a towel from the rack. He wrapped it around his waist with shaking hands. "Why?" he asked. "Why would you do that?" Lyrae stepped closer, not in a threatening way. She looked confused and a little hurt. "Among my people," she said slowly, "the cleansing space is sacred. Water is life. When we enter someone's cleansing space, we are saying that we trust them. We are asking them to trust us. It is the first step to building a deep bond." Do-hyun blinked. He was still shaking, but now it was not just from fear. He was starting to understand. "You were trying to honor me?" "Yes." Lyrae's eyes were wide and sincere. "I chose you because I believe you have a good heart. I watched you during the meeting. You listened when others spoke. You did not interrupt. You smiled at our poems even though you did not understand all the words. I wanted to know you better. I wanted to begin a friendship." Do-hyun leaned against the wall. He did not know what to say. On Earth, what she did would be a crime. But here, in her world, it was a gift. "I did not know," he said quietly. Humans do not do this. We are very private about our bodies. Being seen like this by a stranger is difficult. Liray's face changed. Her silver skin turned a little darker, like clouds covering the moon. She looked down. I have made a terrible mistake, she said. I did not study your customs well enough. I thought... She stopped. Her voice was shaking now. I thought I was doing something beautiful, but I have caused you pain instead. Do-hyun looked at her. He could see that she was truly upset. This was not a joke or a test. She had tried to do something meaningful, and it had gone completely wrong. He took a deep breath. The fear was fading. In its place came something else. Sympathy. Understanding. This was exactly the kind of problem he was supposed to solve. Liray, he said gently, I am not angry. I was surprised, shocked. But I understand now. You did not mean to hurt me. She looked up. Her eyes were wet with something like tears. Truly, truly. But you must understand that humans need time. We guard ourselves differently. It does not mean we do not want connection. We just build it in other ways. Liray nodded slowly. I would like to learn your ways. Will you teach me? Do-hyun almost laughed. 20 minutes ago, he was screaming in the shower. Now he was agreeing to be a teacher. Yes, he said, and maybe you can teach me more about Valorian customs too, so this does not happen again. For the first time, Liray smiled. It was small and careful, but real. I would like that very much. They stood there for a moment, the human in his towel and the alien in her robes. It was strange and awkward and somehow right. Then there was a beep from Do-hyun's communicator. Yuna's voice came through, sharp and worried. Do-hyun, report to the meeting room immediately. The Valorian High Council wants to speak with us. There has been an incident. Do-hyun looked at Liray. She looked back at him. The incident was them. And now the whole alliance might depend on what happened next. Do-hyun dressed quickly and walked to the meeting room. His hair was still wet and his hands were still shaking. Liray walked beside him in silence. Her silver skin had not returned to its normal brightness. She was still upset about what she had done. The meeting room was large and round. One half was designed for humans with chairs and a table. The other half was for Valorians with cushions on the floor near a small pool of water. Yuna was already there, standing with her arms crossed. Her face was calm, but her eyes were worried. On the Valorian side sat 3 members of the High Council. They wore robes of deep purple and gold. Their faces were hard to read. They did not smile or frown. They just watched. Attaché Park, the eldest counselor said. His name was Torvan. His voice was deep and smooth like a slow river. We have received word of an event between you and Delegate Liray. We wish to understand what happened. Do-hyun swallowed. He felt like a child standing before angry parents, but he kept his voice steady. Counselor Torvan, there was a misunderstanding. Delegate Liray entered my cleansing space as a gesture of trust. I did not know this custom. I reacted with fear and surprise. But I understand now that she meant no harm. She was offering friendship. Torvan looked at Liray. Is this true? Liray bowed her head. Yes, counselor. I did not study human customs carefully enough. I caused him distress. The fault is mine. Another counselor spoke. Her name was Salith. She was younger than Torvain, but her eyes were just as sharp. The cleansing space ritual is one of our highest honors. It is not given lightly, and yet the human refused it. He screamed. He covered himself in shame. She looked at Do-hyun. This suggests that humans are closed, guarded, perhaps too guarded to be true partners. Yuna stepped forward. Counselor Salith, with respect, humans are not closed. We simply protect different things in different ways. In our culture, the body is private. It is not shameful, but it is personal. We do not show it to strangers. Then how do you show trust? Salith asked. How do you open yourselves to others? Yuna paused. She looked at Do-hyun. He knew that look. It meant your turn. Do-hyun took a breath. This was the moment. He had to make them understand. We show trust in many ways, he said. We share food. We share stories. We give gifts. We spend time together. We help each other when times are hard. We do not need to be physically exposed to be emotionally open. Torvan raised one hand slowly. But these things are small, common. The cleansing space ritual is sacred because it requires complete vulnerability. You stand before another with nothing hidden. That is how trust is proven. Do-hyun nodded. I understand, and I see the beauty in it. But for humans, vulnerability is not always physical. Sometimes it is sharing your fears, your failures, your hopes. These things are just as hard to show. The counselors looked at each other. They did not speak, but Do-hyun could tell they were communicating somehow. Maybe through small movements, maybe through something else. Finally, Torvan spoke again. We will consider your words, but many among our people are concerned. They believe humans are too afraid to truly connect. If this is true, then an alliance would be hollow. Do-hyun felt his stomach drop. The whole mission was in danger because he had panicked in the shower. It was almost funny. Almost. Liray stood up. Counselor, please. I have seen something in this human. He did not shout at me in anger. He listened. He tried to understand. When I explained our custom, he accepted it. He even offered to teach me human ways in return. This is not the behavior of a closed heart. Salith tilted her head. You speak strongly for him, Liray. Why? Liray looked at Do-hyun. Her eyes were steady. Because I believe he is different. I believe humans may surprise us. There was a long silence. Then Torvan nodded slowly. Very well. We will give the humans a chance to prove themselves. But words are not enough. We will need a demonstration, something that shows us how humans build trust. Yuna bowed. We will prepare something appropriate. Thank you, Counselor. The meeting ended. The Valorians left through their side of the room. As soon as the door closed, Yuna turned to Do-hyun. That was close. Too close. I know. I am sorry. Yuna shook her head. Do not apologize. You handled it well. But now we need a plan. We need to show them something real. Do-hyun thought for a moment. He remembered what he had said about human trust. Food, stories, time. Then an idea came to him. I could cook for them? Yuna raised an eyebrow. Cook? Yes, a Korean meal. Something I used to make with my mother. In our culture, cooking for someone is an act of care. Sharing a meal is intimate. It is how families bond, how friends become close. Yuna considered this. It is simple. Maybe too simple. Simple can be powerful, Do-hyun said. They expect us to be complicated and guarded. If we show them something honest and warm, it might change how they see us. Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Do it. But make it good. Make it real. No performance. Just truth. Do-hyun felt nervous and excited at the same time. He had never cooked for aliens before. He did not even know if they could eat human food. But it was worth trying. He went to the ship's kitchen and started planning. He would make kimchi jjigae, a spicy stew that his mother used to cook on cold winter nights. He would make rice and some side dishes like seasoned vegetables and tofu. He would show them that humans do share themselves, just not in the shower. Liray found him in the kitchen an hour later. She stood by the door and watched him cut vegetables. What are you doing? She asked. Making dinner, for you and some of your colleagues, if you will come. Liray stepped closer. She looked at the ingredients with curiosity. This is your trust ritual? One of them, yes. In my country, we say that food made by someone's hands carries their heart. When you eat it, you receive their care. Lirai touched a piece of tofu gently. We do not have this custom. Our food is prepared by machines. It is efficient but empty. Do-hyun smiled. Then I hope you will enjoy this. It will not be perfect, but it will be made with feeling. Lirai looked at him. For the first time since the incident, her skin began to brighten again. I will come, she said, and I will bring Counselor Seilith. She is the one you must convince. Do-hyun felt a chill. Seilith was the one who had called humans closed and guarded. She was the skeptic. Good, he said, even though his heart was pounding. I look forward to it. Lirai left. Do-hyun looked at the ingredients in front of him. He had one chance to change everything. One meal to save an alliance. He picked up his knife and started cooking. The next evening, Do-hyun set up a low table in one of the ship's common rooms. He placed cushions around it because Valorians did not like chairs. He put the food in the center, a big pot of kimchi jjigae, steaming and red, bowls of white rice, plates of seasoned spinach and bean sprouts, crispy fried tofu, and small dishes of soy sauce and sesame oil. The smell filled the room. It smelled like home. Yuna came in first. She looked at the table and smiled. Your mother would be proud. I hope so, Do-hyun said. I hope they can eat it. I asked Lirai, and she said Valorians can eat most human foods, but she has never tried anything spicy before. Then this will be interesting. A few minutes later, the Valorians arrived. Lirai came first, then two other delegates named Eovan and Tashin, and behind them, walking slowly with her sharp eyes looking at everything, came Counselor Seilith. Do-hyun bowed. Thank you for coming. Please sit. The Valorians lowered themselves onto the cushions. They moved gracefully, like water flowing into a bowl. Seilith sat directly across from Do-hyun. She did not smile. She just watched. This is the human trust ritual, she said. It was not a question. One of them, yes. In my culture, we call it a meal. But it is more than food. It is a gift. I made this with my hands for you. When you eat it, you are accepting my care. Seilith looked at the table. It is colorful, and the smell is strong. It is called kimchi jjigae, a stew made with fermented vegetables and tofu. It is spicy and warm. My mother used to make it for me when I was sad or tired. It always made me feel better. Lirai leaned forward. Her eyes were bright with curiosity. You share a memory with us. That is part of the ritual. Yes. Food and stories go together. When we eat, we also talk. We share pieces of ourselves. Do-hyun showed them how to use chopsticks. Eovan and Tashin struggled at first. The thin sticks kept slipping from their long fingers, but they laughed and tried again. Even Seilith's mouth twitched a little as she watched Eovan drop a piece of tofu 3 times. This tool is inefficient, Eovan said. Yes, Do-hyun agreed. But it makes you slow down. You cannot rush. You have to be present with the food and the people around you. Seilith finally picked up a piece of spinach with her chopsticks. She looked at it for a moment, then put it in her mouth. She chewed slowly. Her expression did not change. It is earthy, green, simple but pleasant. Do-hyun smiled. Try the stew, but be careful. It is hot. Lirai was the first to taste the jjigae. She took a small spoonful of the broth and sipped it. Her eyes went wide. Her silver skin flushed pink at the edges. It burns, she said. But not in a bad way. It is alive, like it is dancing on my tongue. Tashin tried it next. He coughed a little, but kept eating. I understand now why you do this. The food makes you feel something. It is not just fuel. It is experience. Do-hyun nodded. Yes, that is exactly it. Humans believe that meals should touch all parts of you, your body, your mind, your heart. Salith finally tasted the stew. She was silent for a long time. Everyone watched her. Then she set down her spoon and looked at Do-hyun. "You said food carries the heart of the one who makes it. I did not believe you. I thought it was poetry. Empty words." She paused. "But I taste something in this. Care, attention, maybe even worry. You wanted this to be good. You wanted us to feel welcome." Do-hyun felt his chest tighten. "Yes, I did. Why? We doubted you. We questioned your people. Why work so hard for us?" Do-hyun thought about the question. He could give a diplomatic answer. He could talk about the alliance and the future and the benefits of cooperation. But that was not what she was asking. She wanted the truth. "Because I was scared," he said quietly. The room went still. Even Yuna looked surprised. Do-hyun continued. "When Lirai came into my shower, I was terrified, not just because I was exposed, but because I did not understand. I thought I had prepared for this mission. I studied so much. But in that moment, I realized how little I knew. How easy it is to fail. How one mistake can ruin everything." He looked at Lirai. But she did not attack me or mock me. She explained. She listened. She felt bad for hurting me even though she did not mean to. And I thought, if she can be that kind, then maybe we can find a way. Maybe we can build something real. Salith was quiet. Her sharp eyes softened just a little. "You are afraid of failure," she said. "That is why you try so hard." "Yes. Among Valorians, fear is considered a weakness. We are taught to control it, hide it. But you speak of it openly." Do-hyun nodded. "Humans see it differently. Fear is natural. Everyone feels it. The brave ones are not those who have no fear. They are those who act even when they are afraid." Salith looked at the stew in front of her. She picked up her spoon and took another bite, then another. "This meal," she said slowly, "is made from fear and hope. I can taste both. It is strange, but it is honest." Lirai smiled. Eovan and Tashin exchanged looks. Something was changing in the room. The walls were coming down. They talked for 2 more hours. Do-hyun told them about his childhood, his family, his dream of seeing the stars. The Valorians shared stories, too. Lirai talked about her home, a city built on water where children learned to swim before they learned to walk. Tashin described a festival where people danced in the rain to celebrate the turning of seasons. By the end of the night, the food was gone, and the table was messy with empty bowls and stained napkins. It was not elegant, it was not perfect, but it was warm. Salith stood to leave. She paused at the door and looked back at Do-hyun. "You have shown me something tonight. I do not fully understand it yet, but I am willing to learn more." She tilted her head. "The High Council will hear of this. I will tell them that humans are not closed. They are simply careful. And perhaps that is not a bad thing." After the Valorians left, Yuna sat down beside Do-hyun. She let out a long breath. "That was impressive. You reached Salith. I did not think it was possible." Do-hyun stared at the empty pot. "I just told the truth. I was scared and I said so." Yuna smiled. "That is exactly why it worked." The next morning, a message came from the High Council. They were pleased with the cultural exchange, but they wanted more. They proposed a joint ritual, something that blended both human and Valorian traditions, and it would require Do-hyun to do something that scared him even more than cooking. The message from the High Council was clear. They wanted a Salus communion. It was the highest Valorian bonding ritual. Participants would enter a sacred pool together and share personal truths while the water surrounded them. It was meant to strip away all barriers between people, physical and emotional. Do-hyun read the message 3 times. His stomach felt heavy. "They want me to do what I ran away from in the first place," he said to Yuna. Yuna nodded slowly. They are testing you. They want to see if you can meet them in their space, not just invite them into yours. But I cannot just stand in a pool with them. Not like that. Then do not do it like that. Find a middle way. Do-yun paced the room. He thought about the shower, the meal, the conversations with Lyrai and Salith. Every time he had found a bridge between their worlds, it was by mixing things together, human ideas with Valorian forms. Maybe he could do the same here. He asked for a meeting with Lyrai and Counselor Torvan. He explained that he was honored by the invitation, but that humans could not participate in the ritual exactly as Valorians did. Torvan's face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. You refuse again. No, Do-yun said quickly. I accept, but I ask for some changes, small ones, so that humans can take part without breaking our own traditions. What changes? Do-yun took a breath. First, we wear light garments in the water, simple cloth. It is enough to respect human modesty while still allowing the ritual to happen. Torvan considered this. The purpose of the ritual is to be open. Cloth may block that openness. The cloth covers the body, but the words uncover the soul. We will still share truths. We will still be vulnerable, just in a different way. Lyrai spoke up. Counselor, I have seen this human share deep truths while fully clothed. At the meal, he spoke of his fears and his hopes. He did not hide behind his garments. He used them as a frame, not a wall. Torvan looked at her for a long moment. Then he turned back to Do-yun. What else? Second, we ask to speak our truths in our own language first before translation. For humans, the way we say something matters as much as what we say. Our words carry emotion in their sound. If we speak through translators only, some of that feeling is lost. This time, Torvan nodded slowly. That is reasonable. Language is sacred to us as well. And third, Do-yun said, we would like to add something to the ritual. After we share our truths, we would like to offer a small gift to the Valorians in the pool, a token of gratitude and friendship. It is a human custom. Torvan was quiet. He looked at Lyrai. She gave a small nod. These are thoughtful requests, Torvan said finally. You are not trying to escape the ritual. You are trying to make it yours while still honoring ours. That takes wisdom. He paused. The council will allow these changes. The Salus communion will proceed tomorrow night. After the meeting, Do-yun felt dizzy. He had bought himself some comfort, but he was still going to stand in a pool with aliens and tell them his deepest truths. That was terrifying. Lyrai walked with him back to his quarters. You did well, she said. Torvan respects you now. That is not easy to earn. I am still scared, Do-yun admitted. I know. I can see it in the way you hold your shoulders, but you do not let the fear stop you. That is what matters. Do-yun looked at her. Were you scared when you came into my shower? Lyrai smiled a little. Yes, very scared. I had never approached a human before. I did not know how you would react, but I wanted to try. I wanted to believe we could connect. And now? Do you still believe that? More than ever. The next night, Do-yun stood at the edge of the ritual pool. It was in a special chamber on the Valorian side of the ship. The walls were dark blue and covered with tiny lights that looked like stars. The water was warm and glowed faintly from beneath. It was beautiful and strange. Yuna stood beside him. She would not enter the pool, but she was there for support. You can do this, she said quietly. Just speak from the heart. Do-yun wore a thin white robe that went down to his knees. It was light and simple. He felt exposed, but not naked. It was enough. Lyrai entered the water first, then Aovan, then Counselor Salith. They wore their own robes, pale blue and silver. They moved into the center of the pool and waited. Do-yun stepped in. The water was warm like a bath. It came up to his chest. He walked slowly to join the others. Torvald stood at the edge of the pool. He raised his hands and spoke in Valorian. The words were old and musical. Even without translation, Do-yun felt their weight. Then it was time. Salith spoke first. She talked about her childhood, about losing her mother to illness, about her fear that she was not strong enough to lead. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were wet. Eovan went next. He talked about his doubts, his mistakes, his hope that this alliance would bring peace to both worlds. Lirai shared her dream of being a bridge between species. Her loneliness when others did not understand her, her joy at finding connection with Do-hyun. Then everyone looked at Do-hyun. He took a breath. The water moved gently around him. He could feel his heart beating in his ears. He spoke in Korean first, then let the translator catch up. When I was young, my father left. He did not say goodbye. I waited for him every day for a year. I sat by the window and watched for him. He never came. The words hung in the air. Do-yun had never said this to anyone outside his family. I learned then that people can disappear, that trust can be broken. I became careful, guarded. I did not let people in easily because I was afraid they would leave. He looked at Lirai. When you came into my shower, I panicked. But it was not just because of modesty. It was because you saw me when I was not ready. You came too close too fast, and I did not know how to handle it. Salith was watching him closely. Her face was unreadable. Do-hyun continued. But you did not leave. You stayed. You explained. You gave me a chance to understand. And I realized that maybe being seen is not always dangerous. Maybe sometimes it is the beginning of something good. He reached into the water and pulled out a small object. It was a stone from Earth, smooth and gray, shaped like a teardrop. He had brought it from home. This is from a river near my mother's house. She gave it to me before I left for this mission. She said it would remind me of where I come from. He held it out to Lirai. I want you to have it, as a thank you for your patience, and as a promise that I will keep trying to understand your people. Lirai took the stone. Her fingers touched his for a moment. Her eyes were glowing. I will keep it always, she said softly. Salith looked at the stone, then at Do-hyun. For the first time, she smiled. It was small and quiet, but it was real. You have done something rare tonight, human. You have blended our ritual with yours and made it stronger. You have shown that openness does not require one way. It requires willingness. Do-hyun felt something unlock in his chest. He had done it. Not perfectly, not easily. But he had done it. The ritual ended. They left the pool and dried themselves in warm air that flowed from the walls. No one spoke for a while. They did not need to. The silence was full. But outside the ship, in the dark of space, something was watching. A Dreth Combine vessel had been tracking the horizon's edge for days. They had seen the alliance forming, and they did not like it. Inside the Dreth ship, a commander looked at a screen showing Do-hyun's face. The human is the key, he said. Break him, and the alliance falls. He gave an order, and the sabotage began. The morning after the ritual, everything changed. Do-hyun woke to alarms. Red lights flashed in his room. Yuna's voice came through the speaker, sharp and tense. All personnel to the command center. Now. He dressed quickly and ran. When he arrived, the room was full of humans and Valorians, standing together but not speaking. The air was heavy with anger and confusion. Torvald stood at the front. His face was dark, like a storm cloud. He held a data pad in his hand. This was sent to every Valorian citizen 1 hour ago, he said. His voice was cold. It is a recording of the incident between Delegate Lirai and Attaché Park. Do-hyun's blood went cold. Torvald pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed Do-yun in his shower, screaming, slipping, covering himself in panic. It showed Lyrae standing calm and confused. But the recording was cut and edited. It made Do-yun look angry, hateful. It made Lyrae look foolish and rejected. A voice played over the images. It was not Do-yun's voice, but it was made to sound like him. "Get away from me. Your kind disgusts me. I will never trust you." The hologram ended. Silence filled the room. Salith stepped forward. Her eyes were hard. "This is what your people think of us?" "No," Do-yun said quickly. "That is not what I said. That recording is fake. It has been changed." "How can we know that?" another Valorian asked. "We only have your word." Yuna moved to stand beside Do-yun. "This is sabotage. Someone wants to destroy the Alliance. We must find out who did this." Torvan shook his head slowly. "The damage is done. This recording is everywhere. Our people are angry. They feel insulted, betrayed. Many are calling for the humans to leave." Do-yun felt the ground shift under him. Everything he had worked for was falling apart. The meal, the ritual, the connection with Lyrae and Salith. It all meant nothing if everyone believed the lie. Lyrae stepped forward. "I was there. I know what really happened. He did not say those words. He was scared, but he was not cruel. He listened to me. He tried to understand." "You are too close to him," Salith said quietly. "Your word is not enough." Do-hyun's mind was spinning. He thought about the real recording. The ship had cameras in every room for safety. The true video must exist somewhere. "The ship's records," he said suddenly. "The original recording is still in the system. We can show the truth." Torvan frowned. "If the truth supports you, and if it has not been deleted." They accessed the ship's memory core. The original file was still there. It had not been touched. They played it for everyone. This time, the full scene unfolded. Do-yun screamed, yes. He panicked. He slipped and nearly fell. He looked ridiculous and afraid, but he did not shout insults. He did not show hate. Instead, after the first shock passed, he asked questions. He listened. He apologized for his reaction. He offered to learn. The room was quiet when it ended. Salith closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were softer. "I see. The edited version was a weapon, designed to make us hate you." "But who made it?" Yovan asked. "Who sent it?" Yuna had been working on a console in the corner. She looked up. "I found the source. The transmission came from outside the ship, a vessel belonging to the Dreth Combine." The Dreth Combine. Do-yun had heard of them. They were a powerful group that controlled several star systems. They did not like the idea of humans and Valorians becoming allies. It would shift the balance of power away from them. Torvan's jaw tightened. "They have tried to poison our people against you, to break what we are building." Do-yun stepped forward. "Then we cannot let them win. We have to show your people the truth, all of it. Not just the real recording, but everything. The meal, the ritual, the conversations. Let them see what really happened between us." Salith raised an eyebrow. "You would share all of that? Even the parts that make you look foolish?" "Especially those parts. If we hide them, we look like we have something to hide. But if we show everything, the good and the bad, they will see that we are honest, that we are trying." Yuna looked at him with something like pride. "That is a risk. A big one." "I know, but it is the only way." Torvan considered for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Very well. We will release the full records, all of them. Let our people decide for themselves." The files were sent out across the Valorian network. Every citizen could watch the complete story from the beginning, the shower incident in full, the meal where Do-hyun cooked and shared his fears. The ritual where he stood in the pool and spoke of his father leaving. All of it, raw and unedited. For hours they waited. Do-yun sat in his room alone, staring at the wall. He had just shown the entire Valorian population his most embarrassing and vulnerable moments. He did not know what they would think. Then the responses started coming. At first, there were some angry messages. Some Valorians still thought humans were strange and hard to understand. But slowly, the tone began to shift. People wrote about the meal, about how moved they were to see Do-hyun cook with his own hands and share his mother's recipe. They wrote about the ritual, about his words on loss and trust and hope. They wrote about the moment he gave Lirai the stone from his mother's river. One message said, "This human is not perfect. He is afraid and awkward and sometimes foolish. But he does not give up. He keeps trying. That is worthy of respect." Another said, "I did not understand humans before. I thought they were cold and closed. But this one opened himself even when it was hard. Maybe there is more to them than we believed." By the end of the day, the public opinion had turned. Most Valorians now supported the alliance. They saw the Dreth trick for what it was, a lie meant to divide them. The High Council made a formal announcement. The alliance would go forward. A treaty would be signed. Human and Valorian ships would work together. Cultural exchanges would continue. Do-hyun stood on the observation deck and watched the stars. He felt tired and light at the same time, like he had been carrying something heavy and had finally put it down. Lirai found him there. She stood beside him and looked out at the dark. "You did it," she said quietly. "We did it. All of us." She smiled. "You showed our people your worst moments, your fear, your panic, your mistakes, and they loved you for it." Do-hyun laughed softly. "Humans are strange that way. We connect through imperfection. We trust people who admit they do not have all the answers." "It is a good way to be," Lirai said. "I am learning from you." They stood in silence for a while. Then Lirai reached into her robe and pulled out the stone he had given her. She held it up to the light. "I will keep this forever," she said, "to remember what we built." Do-hyun smiled. "And I will remember a very surprised Valorian standing in my bathroom door." Lirai laughed. It was a bright sound, like water over rocks. Yuna came up behind them. She was smiling too, which was rare. "The first joint colony ship launches next month," she said. "Humans and Valorians together. They are calling it New Bridge." Do-hyun looked at Lirai. "I like that name." Yuna put a hand on his shoulder. "You know, most species try to impress others with power or technology. You impress them by slipping in the shower and refusing to give up." Do-hyun grinned. "Maybe that is humanity's greatest strength. We are too stubborn to stay embarrassed." They watched the stars together. Somewhere out there, the Dreth Combine was angry. Their plan had failed. But Do-hyun did not care about them right now. He cared about the future, about what they could build if they kept trying, kept talking, kept showing up even when it was hard. The alliance was just the beginning. There would be more misunderstandings, more awkward moments, more chances to fail. But that was okay, because humans were good at getting back up, and this time, they would not be getting up alone.